200 years ago, this remote farm was home to a poet whose words ring around the world every New Year's Eve. Find out who he was and where I am in just a moment. On today's show, I'm looking to help one couple escape the rat race and head north over the border for the quiet surrounds of the Celtic countryside. They feel right at home.
Really cosy.
That's what I was thinking, comfortable.
I can imagine being curled up on the sofa in the winter here.
And they find it all overwhelming.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's very nice.
Oh.
Today we're in Dumfries and Galloway, and it was to this farm in 1788 that the poet Robert Burns brought his young family. And it's been known ever since as the poet's choice because he wrote some of his most famous lyrics here, including Auld Lang Syne. The idyll didn't last very long, however, because he got a job in Dumfries because of money worries 3 years later, but he remembered the place with great fondness. And when you see the beautiful landscape this county has to offer, you'll understand why. Elaine and Ian have spent the past 9 years in Herne, Kent, but feel that with Ian on the cusp of retirement, the time is right for a change of pace and to pack up their bags for Scotland.
When we first moved here, it was very much a village atmosphere, but it's got busier and busier. We live on a busy main road, which is noisy, especially in the summertime when you're sitting in the garden. You can hear the traffic noise.
It's time for life to slow down in pace.
And a family connection lies behind their distant relocation.
My father was from Scotland. I've got cousins that live up in Jedburgh, and I've got a step-family that live in Annan.
The area they're looking at played host to a major event in their lives.
So we decided to get married at Gretna Green in Scotland, Dumfriesshire, mainly because of Ian's family.
Following the wedding, little be known to us, Elaine's parents moved back up on holiday to Carlisle a week later and have now settled up there as well.
So what are they looking for in their Scottish homestead?
The ideal property would be detached, on the edge of a village, and whilst we're looking for most of the accommodation on the ground floor, I do like a chalet bungalow, having a bedroom, maybe a bathroom upstairs. 3
bedrooms, 4 would be nice. A reasonable sized garden with some sheds and possibly a greenhouse. I'm going to be retired, so I'll probably be more in the potting shed, hopefully. It would be nice to have a stream running through the garden, but there again, you know, we can't have everything.
The most important feature for me is the kitchen, because one of my passions in life is cooking. So to have somewhere that I can cook in and people can sit at the table and talk to me and have a glass of wine or two would be lovely.
When it comes to entertaining, Elaine and Ian don't always follow convention, finding a novel use for their garden shed.
We've actually converted it into a quite little cosy pub. The boys can get up there and watch the football and be out the way of and keeping the house still, keeping the nest nice and tidy.
All that remains to be ironed out are the financial details for their move north of the border.
The budget for the planned move is approximately £300,000.
Elaine and Ian would like us to concentrate our search to the south around Dumfries and within reasonable distance of Elaine's parents in Carlisle. I met up with them on local soil to find out more about what they're after in the property. Welcome to Scotland, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which areas are you looking in particularly?
The area that we've specifically looked at the moment is sort of somewhere between sort of Moffat, Dumfries and Carlisle, that sort of triangle.
How much is your budget?
The budget is £300,000.
Okay, but you're also quite keen on doing some work, is that right?
Yes, I mean, we'd be happy to look at something that was less money, say £240,000, that had some scope to be improved.
Well, we've got 3 lovely properties, and I think they are going to give you lots of food for thought. So, no time like the present, let's go. A garden, ideally complete with a brook, set in a quiet country location, but within reasonable distance of Elaine's parents in Carlisle. We begin our property search close to the village of Waterbeck, around 40 minutes east of Dumfries and 20 miles from Carlisle. So this is the property. What are your first
Very
impressions?
Love the stone and the location.
Do you like the location?
I do, yes. Yes.
Stunning.
But I mean, the interesting thing about this property is that it is actually an old property. The front part was a byre, a sort of an agricultural outhouse, from probably the end of the 19th century. And this part, straight in front of me, is less than 7 years old.
It's blended in well.
Amazingly well done, isn't
has.
it? Good. Shall we have a look inside?
Yes, please.
Let's go.
We're off to a great start with a positive reaction to the setting, and I'm hoping the interior can match that and deliver the space they need, as this is a property with potential.
It's not cramped, the dining area.
And an eating area in the kitchen, that's what you've always wanted.
It's nice and light. Yeah.
And you've got quite a nice-sized utility room there with the
Yes.
white goods and a door out into the back garden
Yes,
and then
that's-
onto the drive, so you can bring
really-
your shopping straight through.
That's really handy. Yeah.
Well, after the kitchen, and then into this room, which I think is a really lovely room in this property.
This is
nice.
lovely. I love the fire.
Was on our list,
That's
on our
really
wish list, so
lovely.
yeah, that's really nice.
Beautiful views. I think this is the killer thing about this house, and such a lovely warm feeling here.
Yes.
There is. Cosy, really cosy.
Cosy, that's what I was thinking, comfortable.
I can imagine
Yeah.
being curled up on the sofa in the winter here. And, yeah.
So that's your living space, the sitting room, the kitchen, and you have, well, effectively 2.5 bedrooms.
Okay.
This one's being used as the master because it has this ensuite toilet and wash basin.
That's pretty.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
They're not colossal, the rooms.
No. I'm thinking about storage. I mean, they have one wardrobe.
But realistically, how much storage do you need?
Probably more than certainly is in this room at the moment. Elaine's got it right, but the chalet bit, perhaps we do need to go up as well.
There is another generous bedroom and a smaller room, currently a study, which could be used as a small single third bedroom. All are served by a good-sized family bathroom. Lovely kind of 360 view, sort of, from here. Well, this land around us doesn't belong to the property, but the farmer, who is just across the way, is a canny chap, and realising that it was up for sale, has offered it up for sale. So you would enjoy having that bit more land.
Yes, I think we would. Yes. It wouldn't go to waste.
Possibly then also gives other opportunities with the house.
Well, you were thinking of maybe pushing out on one end, or
Yeah.
that sort of work requires money,
Yes.
and we haven't talked about money. So what do you
No.
think this is on the market for?
Difficult one. Without the land.
Without the
land.
land, yeah.
225,000?
No, I was going to say 260.
Well, in this instance, Ian, you are right on the money.
Oh.
225. They've just lowered it to that price, so they probably wouldn't go any lower, but that would give you sort of a substantial chunk.
It would, very much so.
This single-level cottage comes in well under budget and offers them 3 bedrooms, a kitchen diner, a large living room, the possibility to extend the property, all in a rural location surrounded by stunning scenery. So you still think it's a little on the small side?
Slightly on the small side, but would like to investigate further as to whether we could extend it to a 3rd bedroom.
Or you could go and look at another property.
We could.
Okay.
That's what I'm offering. Come with me.
Thank you.
Through the centuries, Scotland's beautiful and stirring landscape has been the backdrop for clans, battles, and titled families, all of which have shaped the country's vibrant history. Around 20 miles north of Dumfries, overlooking the magnificent Nith Valley, is Drumlanrig Castle, an impressive example of 17th century Renaissance-style architecture, built on the site of an ancient stronghold. Home to the Dukes of Buccleuch and Queensberry for the last 500 years, it played host to Bonnie Prince Charlie on his retreat north in 1745. I'm here to meet castle guide Ian Sutherland to discover the story of this glorious pink sandstone palace. Who's this handsome
with
chap?
Chad, yeah.
Chad. He's gorgeous.
He certainly is, isn't he? Yeah.
So tell me briefly about Drumlanrig.
Well, Drumlanrig is the very last castle to be built in Scotland. You're in the valley of the River Nith, and in the old days it was used as an invasion route, you know, from the south right into Scotland. Ah. So in the past we've had Romans, Vikings, Anglo-Saxons, and even the English have tried to invade through this part. And what the castle is doing is guarding the only really good crossing across the River Nith. In fact, Drumlanrig is a bit like a cork in a bottle. It tries to stop any army from getting further up the valley. So this is one of the best places you could possibly have a castle. Even in the old days, you know, the Romans, they have a fort. We've got a fort in the grounds.
That is a wonderful Scottish history, but I am partly enchanted by this chap here. So what's his role in the proceedings?
The family is one of the first families to introduce these black Labradors into Britain. Wow. And since that time, they've been used as gun dogs.
So we have the Buccleuchs to thank for the Labradors?
Yes, I think so.
Wonderful. Ever since the 5th Duke of Buccleuch introduced black Labradors from Newfoundland in the 1830s, working dogs have been an important part of the Buccleuch estates. David Lissett, trainer at Buccleuch Gun Dogs, has agreed to give me some tips on working with these handsome beasts.
What we'll do is we'll start at the very beginning, the recall whistle and the stop whistle. The recall whistle would be toot, 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 and hopefully he'll come charging in. And then the brake whistle would be one blow.
Good boy.
So cute.
So the next stage, we'll start stretching him a wee bit just now.
David is setting Chad a memory task. He'll launch a dummy bird across the lawn, and I have to tell Chad to remember its position. Is there any whistle blowing?
No. The only time is, you see when he's going 3/4 of the way across there, just give him a wee. Just practice. Just give. No, you need to speak as if somebody's nicking your wallet. Just enough. Right, here we go. That's it.
Mark. Before he retrieves it, I send him off to look for a second dummy already hidden in the bushes. Go back!
Put the brakes on now. And then push him back. Go back.
Go back! Oh, look
Lovely.
at that. Amazing!
Absolutely lovely.
Just the hand gesture did it.
Just the hand gesture and your tone. Here we go.
Do I do the do-do-do-do?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Oh, superstar! Look at that! Good boy, Chad. Good dog. Oh.
Just line them up and pick the other ones now.
Okay, so
same again. Just put your hand down and point to where you want them to go and say go
Sit.
back.
Good boy. Okay, now to retrieve the first bird. Go back. Oh, he's like a boing, like an arrow.
This is what they're bred for all these years.
Good boy. Good boy. Well done, you.
You're an absolute natural, Alistair.
I think he's an absolute natural. It's been a joy. Thank you so
very
much. It was a lovely experience working with Chad, and I'm sure these beautiful dogs will be working alongside future dukes for years to come. But now it's time to go back to our buyers. We're travelling west towards Dumfries for our next property offering, which lies in the hamlet of Shield Hill, close to the town of Lochmaben and about 33 miles from Carlisle. Lochmaben is the nearest town serving the local community with a variety of shops, cafes and pubs. Around 4 miles out of town is Shield Hill, the setting of our second property, a 4-bedroom chalet-style bungalow surrounded by rural countryside. All right, house number 2. This is our offering.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing at the moment.
Tell me what you're seeing. What are you seeing? What's jumping out at you?
I like the high-pitched roof. It's obviously got character.
How old do you think the property is?
I would say it's probably not as old as it probably looks.
9 years old.
Is it really?
Yeah. Should we look inside?
Let's get in.
Absolutely.
We're off to a flying start, and I'm confident the interior will deliver on space, but whether it offers the wow factor remains to be seen.
This is nice.
That's
Yes.
intriguing.
It's surprising, isn't it?
That's very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Is it your taste? Is it your
Definitely.
style?
Oh,
We
absolutely.
do like oak
yeah.
staircases,
Yeah.
yes we do.
We look in the kitchen.
Let's do.
Yes, please. My domain.
So far, so good. Now for the most important room in the house. You ready for this?
We're ready.
Come on in.
Oh.
Oh, right. Yes.
Wow.
It's very nice.
Oh.
You all right?
Are you willing up?
She is.
Wow. Oh, Elaine, tell us what is it that's getting to you?
It just feels really. It's got a really good feeling. Yeah, I mean, I can visualise all my bits in here, and
It's got a lot of what you
Yeah.
wanted. It's got a lovely kind of gas
Yeah.
range.
definitely.
Well, that was quite a response to the kitchen. But let's continue through to the sitting room. Hanky's to the ready.
Okay.
Here's your sitting room.
It's nice and big.
Beautiful size.
It's a nice space. It
Any
feels
reservations?
warm.
It's something about the fireplace. It's incredibly dominant.
I think it might be the stones that I'm not too sure about.
Yeah.
The thing about this house is I think it needs a bit of TLC. And on this floor there's also a small study. And actually on the other wing, because you have another
Wow.
wing, there are two very nice sized bedrooms and a family bathroom,
Right.
which you can
Okay.
explore. But this is actually a 4-bedroom house.
Okay.
Okay.
Though I think you'll find when you see the size of the bedrooms upstairs, you might think of it as an 8-bedroom house.
Okay.
With such an emotional response to the ground floor, let's hope upstairs can match that reaction.
Oh my goodness.
It's big. Very big.
Yeah, that's great. What a size. That's amazing.
What would you do with all this space?
Keep my shoes here.
Wardrobes.
So this would be your walk-in wardrobe. There is another bedroom up on this floor. I'll let you explore that at your own leisure. But let's nip outside and let's think land and think price.
Okay.
As we head outside, it seems that in terms of space, the interior has well and truly delivered, along with a few unexpected tears. The garden here is south-facing and over these fields, which are not yours, but are just being used with little ponies and some Highland cattle. I'm not sure, there's a sort of ambivalence about the two of you, but I can't decide whether you love it and are keeping it under your hat. Or...
I love it. I think for me there's a lot of work in there. That doesn't faze me because the structure is there, it's cosmetic.
It's going to need some imagination using that very large
Yeah.
bedroom and how we would use that and
Yeah.
seeing how that could be developed.
So a very different offering from the house this morning. What do you think it is in terms of price?
I'm going to say 305.
Ian?
I'd probably go, say, 245.
Well, it's not far off Ian's guess. It's actually on the market for 250.
That's very surprising. Very pleasing.
This 9-year-old cottage offers them the space they're looking for, including 4 large bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a tear-inducing kitchen diner for entertaining, a large living room perfectly placed in the beautiful Dumfries and Galloway countryside. Well, we're done for today, so time to rest and digest what you've seen.
We will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
For our mystery house, we're staying on Scottish soil, heading around 6 miles south to the outskirts of Dumfries, and 45 minutes from Carlisle. The market town of Dumfries, set on the banks of the River Nith, has been a royal burgh since 1186. Our mystery house is a 4-bedroom bungalow in a peaceful setting, well placed for the amenities of the town, and could test their appetite for taking on a refurbishment project. So you know you mentioned in your wildest dreams how you'd like a stream running through your house.
did.
We did.
You have found us one.
So we've been scouring Scotland to find you a property in your budget that has a brook.
It feels as though you're completely in the middle of a wood here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Probably could be the house of our dreams, I don't know.
This is music to my ears. Yes. Let's hope the music continues as we step inside. Follow me. The setting of the house more than delivers. However, it's time to cross our fingers and hope that they are a couple with the vision for a project. Come on into the sitting room, which is at the front of the bungalow.
Okay. That's a reasonable size.
I think it's smaller than others that we've looked at.
Certainly smaller than yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I like the fact that it's got a chimney breast and a fire. That's good.
I think the thing to think about this house is really, if you can, just to think of it as a shell.
Yeah.
And really the ground plan you can rejig as you like.
Yeah.
I think you would want to think about this in terms of maybe the kitchen living room, because this flows on into the kitchen.
Okay.
So I imagine you'll have a view about the kitchen.
Yes, it's not the biggest kitchen in the world, but I've had smaller.
The footprint of the house is quite, it's certainly bigger than the first house that we saw.
Yeah.
Right. It's a project.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Let's take a look at one of the bedrooms. With the kitchen, bathroom and two of the bedrooms separated by stud walls, Elaine and Ian have a variety of options available for reconfiguring the property exactly how they'd like it. We've got 4 bedrooms.
Okay.
2 of them are good sizes. There's this one and the one next door, which could be the master. And then you've got 2 littler ones on the other side, one of which could be a study and a bathroom. But I think the high point of the house for you guys is probably this next room. The scale of the project is becoming clear, but so far they don't seem fazed. This, I think, is going to be one of your key rooms.
This is nice. This is really
This
nice.
would be nice as a lounge.
This is the addition. This is what they put on.
I mean, this is the selling point of the house, isn't
Yeah.
it? Without any doubt.
Doors open, sun coming down, stream dribbling.
Well, I can imagine the nice sort of light oak doors that sort of pull completely back and open it up.
Right, that's expensive. Which brings us on to the question of price, because I can see that you've been, as walking round, you've been sort of knocking down walls and
We've been spending it.
reconfiguring things. And as I suggested, I think this is a sort of complete remodelling, perhaps. So how much do you think this property is on the market for?
I'm going to say 199.
Ian?
I think probably on the market for probably 275.
275. Wow, you've completely swapped the things now. You've gone high, you've gone low. Well, actually, it's somewhere in the middle. It's actually on the market for 225,
Okay.
but the vendors have made it clear that they're open to negotiation, so you might get it for less.
That does leave scope.
To do the work
Yeah,
that
to
we
do
would want
quite
to
a
do.
bit. Yeah.
Our mystery house falls well within their budget, giving them plenty of cash for improvements, and includes 4 bedrooms, a large garden room, additional space with a converted garage, a babbling brook at the bottom of the garden, all surrounded by woodland and stunning scenery. You admiring your bluebell woods?
We are.
Absolutely.
We are.
It's a lovely stream. It needs damming though, doesn't it? It needs small children to come and
Yes,
play.
yeah.
Childhood dreams. Good. Okay, well, it's time to go and think about all the properties I've shown you.
Okay.
Come with me. We began our little Scottish odyssey by a fire and we're ending it by a fire. I hope you've had fun.
Definitely. Yeah. It's been an absolute eye-opener for me.
I get the impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, that number 1 is not so much of a contender and it's all down to property number 2 and the mystery house.
Number 2 is my favourite in terms of the property, but number 3, it has to be the location.
What has to happen next for you to make a decision one way or the other?
I think for me, I want to go back and see property number 2 before we leave Scotland, and I think I need to understand how property 3 can work for us.
I think if probably an ideal would be if we could take property 2 and put it into the setting of property 3. That would be absolutely amazing. And there you have the conundrum.
It's been lovely showing you around, and I do hope that you find your place up here. It's really lovely to see you coming to look back in your homeland, as it were, and that one of the properties that we've shown you comes up trumps.
Thank you, Alistair.
Thank you very much.
Well, it looks like house number 2 and the Mystery House both still strong contenders. And I have to say, I thought we did very well here in Scotland because we kept well under budget and offered Ian and Elaine a lot more than they had hoped for. A lot of space in house number 2 and super potential in the Mystery House. And with all this amazing landscape, you can understand why they'd want to move here. I hope you've enjoyed our jaunt through bonnie Scotland. Do join us next time for more Escape to the Country. Having mulled over the properties we served up, Elaine and Ian have since had a change of direction, discarding any notion of taking on a project and opting instead for a new build that's ready to move into. And I'm happy to say they've had an offer accepted on a house in Eaglesfield. If you want to escape to the country in Wales, Northern Ireland, England, Scotland, or even further afield to the continent and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be-on-a-show. 200 years ago, this remote farm was home to a poet whose words ring around the world every New Year's Eve. Find out who he was and where I am in just a moment. On today's show, I'm looking to help one couple escape the rat race and head north over the border for the quiet surrounds of the Celtic countryside. They feel right at home.
Really cosy.
Cosy, that's what I was thinking, comfortable.
I can imagine
Yeah.
being curled up on the sofa in the winter here.
And they find it all overwhelming.
Yes.
Wow.
It's very nice.
Oh.
Today we're in Dumfries and Galloway, and it was to this farm in 1788 that the poet Robert Burns brought his young family. And it's been known ever since as the poet's choice because he wrote some of his most famous lyrics here, including Auld Lang Syne. The idyll didn't last very long, however, because he got a job in Dumfries because of money worries 3 years later, but he remembered the place with great fondness. And when you see the beautiful landscape this county has to offer, you'll understand why. Elaine and Ian have spent the past 9 years in Herne, Kent, but feel that with Ian on the cusp of retirement, the time is right for a change of pace and to pack up their bags for Scotland.
When we first moved here, it was very much a village atmosphere, but it's got busier and busier. We live on a busy main road, which is noisy, especially in the summertime when you're sitting in the garden. You can hear the traffic noise.
It's time for life to slow down in pace.
And a family connection lies behind their distant relocation.
My father was from Scotland. I've got cousins that live up in Jedburgh, and I've got a step family that live in Annan.
The area they're looking at played host to a major event in their lives.
So we decided to get married at Gretna Green in Scotland, Dumfriesshire, mainly because of Ian's family.
Following the wedding, little be known to us, Elaine's parents moved back up on holiday to Carlisle a week later and have now settled up there as well.
So what are they looking for in their Scottish homestead?
The ideal property would be detached, on the edge of a village, and whilst we're looking for most of the accommodation on the ground floor, I do like